rolling. There we are. We're live with the Redbaniacs. Yeah. And so you all have just finished visiting Jofira and learning a great deal about the nature of this mystery you've found yourselves enwrapped in. And Jofira has indeed agreed to help you in your translation efforts. And in the meantime, have you help them help the Furbolg with their little snow elf problem. So you're still there in Jofira's home. At the it is night now, and she's kind of bade you off. But as at this point, you see again in the doorway, Thicket appears. I don't mean to interrupt or anything, but I wanted to come and see about accommodations. You certainly you will allow me to take you to my home, yes?
Why, of course.
Yeah, sure.
You're my guests. I must. And
I
since
agree.
Fenwick is rather incapacitated at the moment,
He's a bit preoccupied.
you'll need to come to my place, and I will make you very comfortable for the night. I live alone, but there should be enough room.
Okay.
So come. And he kind of leaves. And before you all go though, Jofira says, "Hold a moment, Brecken." She points to him and says, "Come the morning, I wish you to return here. You shall assist me." And Brecken says, he looks confused. Well, what? What assistance could I possibly offer? And she says, "I simply request your presence with me here. I assure you, you will be of assistance." And he kind of, "Well, if you ask, of course, I'll be here in the morning." And she says, "Have a good evening then with all of you. Thank you."
Before we go, I would like to ask one more question of you.
Of course.
I pull out the face steel pin we got off the rider. Have you ever seen this emblem or symbol before?
She takes it. Takes her book again, her copy. Thumbs through it for a moment, and opens to a page. And on the page, you see the very depiction of the
Dang it.
brooch. It's a smaller kind of not quite in the margins, but it's a smaller etching of that symbol in her book.
Can you tell me what it means? Does it stand for a group of people or a philosophy?
All in good time.
Very well.
You do your work, I will do mine, and I will certainly give you all of the information that I have when Brecken and I have finished our work.
Very well.
She looks very intrigued, and she says, May I hold on to this for the time being?"
Of course.
She takes it and kind of bookmarks her book with it and sets it down. And she says, "Thank you all.
Goodbye.
Come with me then," says Thicket. And he
We go.
jovially heads out.
Yeah, I told you what was important.
I love your speculations. So Thicket takes you out. He leads you down. It's pretty dark. You can't get there are some torches and lights about. You can't get a real good look at the town yet. But Thicket leads you down that path, that wood ramp that kind of goes all the way, snaking up that tree from house to house, domicile to domicile. And you get on down back on the ground. He leads you good deal away, maybe maybe a few hundred feet to a smaller tree. It's still very thick, bold, and winding, but its top terminates a good deal lower than most of the other ones. And there's uh, one smallish home, a tree home, about 20 feet off the ground, and one about 50 feet. And he says, "Well, we're here. Come on in." And he motions to the stairway, a thick wood, sturdy wooden stairway, all the way up to the first tree home there. And he says, "This one's mine." And he kind of heads up there, opens the door, and beckons for you all to follow.
Oh, I follow him.
Yeah, we all follow.
All right. So Thicket's home is a cozy little place. He steps in and starts to get a fire going. And you see after he lights the fire, he picks up some sort of metal object from the wall, up against the wall, and he kind of sets it on some carved stones that are stacked on each side of the fire, and it looks like a metal grate, and looks like it's a sort of an improvised grill, sort of a cooking station, and he's got you see looking about his place, he's got a rack with an axe on it and a place for his bow, which he unslings and sets there. He's got some giant made rugs about. There's a rocking chair, and across the room there's a table with a single chair by it. But it does have a nice, possibly giant made tablecloth on it with a candle currently unlit.
Very nice.
Cool.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you think so. And he begins to put on some. He begins to dig around in his pantries, and you see him start to make some of those kebabs from the other night. He gets to work, kind of busying himself, chopping up the various foods that go into it, and he starts to roast them over the grill, and he says, "Please make all of you make yourselves at home."
Worth
So,
finds a seat.
Thicket,
Ah, yes.
tell us about this town that you have here. Anything of interest within?
Oh, it's a nice little place. There's a good deal of us living here, and within there's like well, I have lots of friends here.
Good,
And
good, good,
so
good.
I'm thankful that they let me off of the guard shift because I have guests, and well, naturally I must attend to my guests. But and you know, I have lots of friends. There's a few interesting things in town. Have uh, they have a place that sells all sorts of strange sundries from across the vale. There's a blacksmith, and there's sometimes a cart passes through from, well, you see, throughout the vale and our forest, we have many smaller settlements where
Okay.
families or small communities will build their own tree homes, and we call them steads, like homesteads or steadings, and that's where most of our population is. But here, this city is a larger one.
And how many people live here?
Oh, there's perhaps 500 to 600 of us.
Good
Size?
amount. And how many elves do you think are attacking right now? Or at least, were to guess.
Oh, that's a good question. Now, yesterday when we were ambushed, well, it was hard to tell, but I think there could have been a dozen or so. There were certainly a lot of arrows.
Yes.
And
How? Go on. Sorry.
oh no, that's about all I was going to say.
How far is it to the nearest snow elf settlement?
Far. Um, from the Let me ask you, from your high vantage point on the mountain before you came down, did you see the the Vale's Gate, where the river exits and empties into the ocean?
We may have seen it in passing, but I
I
don't
look over
believe
to
we made
Mirwin.
a special note of it, no?
Mirwin remembers that.
I remember saying this. Yes.
Oh yes, well that we call that the Vale's Gate, and it's a mountain. It's not a mountain pass, but it's where a gap in the mountains, like a gate. So from here to there, it is probably a week of on foot through the forests and such. Thus, I've been trying to puzzle it all out. But the snow, the settlement though. Well, to get to the snow elf settlement, once you get all the way to the Vale's Gate, you must pass beyond it, and then mountains rise yet again, and it is in these mountains that they live. They create they create a home in these alpine places. They're very hearty folk, and I just cannot for the life of me figure why they would come into our homes like this, kill two of our scouts so far. I just don't know.
And how long has this been going on?
Well, they just turned up. Our first our first scout turned up dead 3 days ago. It was very shortly before your arrival, which is why Kenrick and I were out scouting over where you came down. It's just a coincidence that you came at that time. But they must have. I don't know how long they've been here, but the strange thing is, they must have been moving undetected for some time. Because the strange thing is that we were attacked south of the city, and both of our guards, both of our scouts were found dead south of Yanmar. So they have come all the way from the Vale's Gate,
Past the city.
past Yanmar, which there's no real roads. It wouldn't be difficult to go around, but it means they've been here for some time. I fear, just undetected. We have scouts out on a regular basis, but I don't know. I just don't know how they were here for so long. None of our steadings found them, or they would have sound alarm or something like that.
Have you sent anyone to the snow elves, an envoy or something?
We have not yet. We probably will. We'll need to confer with Jofira and some of the others, some of the other elder ones, and we should probably tell them that that's a good idea if they haven't already been thinking of it in their councils. We should do that.
Of course, for our purposes, that would take too long. But
to get an envoy there and back, yes, it would be quite a journey.
That would certainly take a long time. I'm wondering if we don't just go into the woods and see if we don't stumble upon these elves and question them there. That's only a day away, was our attack, whereas it would be 2-3 weeks to get to their settlement and back.
Well, perhaps both can be done. We can take care of what we can here and now, and they can send someone officially to the Snow Elves to see if there's a misunderstanding, or perhaps these are rogues and aren't acting with consent of the rest of them, or if they're completely separate and they don't know who they are any more than we do.
That was one of Kenwick's theories. Was that this was a splinter group of some sort of faction, and Brecken scratches his beard. He says, "Then What are they doing? Are they just trying to pass through? Why and why any of this then? Why would they be secretive? Why wouldn't they just ask for your help? Why would they kill your scouts if they're just moving southward? Well, I certainly don't know that.
Something else is going on. I feel they're being manipulated somehow to do someone else's bidding.
That would be a fearful prospect. Who do you think it would be? Why would someone do that? We live in peace here. We have no quarrel with anyone.
Sadly, that's very rarely a protection.
You did live in peace. Now, no longer. This is a new time. Tell me more about your town. What other places are there to visit? Certainly, it's not 500, and 2 stores.
Oh, what else do we do? What else do we do here? We have, well, I mean, we don't stores like places where all of our goods are collected into one place. Is that what a store is?
You know, any sort of services. It would be nice to at least look around a bit.
Oh,
We
certainly we
haven't
have.
been in a city in a while.
We
Do you
have. We don't have like a shop, like a shop. That's what that means. Well, we don't really have those. We have many workers. Like I said, we have a blacksmith workers, and we have a worker in who makes our staffs, our staves, that many of us carry. These beautiful heavy wood staves. Woodworkers. We have one who works in armor and leather, and makes many of our clothes. He and his brother, they make our clothing, and they make they make our clothing and armor. They sort of team up with that. Then there's the hunting guild, which likely in the morning I will take you to see our head huntsman, because he's sort of serving as well, we don't have warriors or soldiers really, so he is sort of serving as our tactical um, head in this trying time. But if you search through town, you'll find some interesting folk. There's there are some that specialize in animals, and you'll find yes, you'll find the town is quite lovely. We have parties sometimes in the center of the town. We will have a bonfire where we all sit around it, and we make kebabs and various other foods and things. And there's a great deal of there's a of course there's a maker of musical instruments here. Indeed.
Certainly are kebab centric here.
Well, it's one of our national foods. Well, our people's favorite foods. So yes, it's.
If it came down to it, and your settlement was under siege, how many fighting men do you think you can bring to bear at once?
That's a good question. Well, right now, we minus Kenwick and myself, we have marshaled our entire guard force. As Kenwick said, not an inch is going unwatched, and likely that's all of our ready guard force. But with all mustard, mustard. Mustard. I realized I just said mustard and it sounds like mustard. I'm sorry. What were we?
You are very hungry, aren't you?
We were saying that I think mustering all of our able-bodied men and women, I believe excluding elderly, very elderly, and very young, we could probably get 300, 400 maybe.
That's not insignificant. That's good.
And we are capable folk. We have many hunters among us, but we're good with bow. We have martial weapons. We are not trained as soldiers, But if it were under siege, I can say we could defend ourselves.
Excellent. And we will certainly do what we can to figure out the situation and stop it from getting to that point. But
That's
should
certainly
be
a hope it
prepared.
does not. We will talk to the head huntsman tomorrow, and ensure that all measures are taken.
Do you have is Jafira the I don't know, leader of your settlement, or who?
She's our law master. However, she and the other elders, there's a council, a chamber of sorts where she and I think it's four others currently, where they meet weekly or bi-weekly, depending on what is needed, what circumstances are. They've already met twice since this occurred. Tonight, Jofira, of course, is working has worked with you all, but they will get together and do those sort of things. I'm getting a bit sleepy, but he begins consuming his kebabs first, and hands you each one as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I haven't any ale or wine, unfortunately. I'm out. I do have some fresh water, and he pumps a tap like thing and pours you each some fresh waters.
Thank you.
And he says, "Well, now it is for a certain time for me to sleep, and you. Oh yes, well, I have a bed. It could probably fit all three of you in it. It's very and you see it. You did see as well his bed. It's pretty nice. It's a large bed with a thick frame to support his largeness.
That's okay. We
He
have
says,
bed rolls.
Yeah, don't
And
worry about
Stuff
it,
on the
Ticket.
floor.
I would offer you the bed.
No.
Not necessary.
We don't
Okay.
want to
We will not come
impose.
in here and take yours. We will find a way to sleep. I'll probably go outside.
Oh,
He
okay.
was afraid of,
Well-
fearful of intimacy with others.
Well,
I will kiss you on the lips right now.
Especially Warith.
I can certainly understand the fear of intimacy. Anyhow, never mind that. Do be careful if you go outside.
Yeah, I'll be careful.
Well, there could be killer elves out there. I don't know.
Yes, I will watch out for the killer elf.
And did you
Okay.
hear him talk about that owl bear thing?
Yes, I'll be careful of that.
The owl bear don't live around here. They'll be farther away, not near, not here.
Oh, speaking of, dude, while we were with the giants, there was talk of we saw a yeti. We were almost killed by one, and we heard trolls.
Oh,
Are
the
those-
giants have visited us before and told us of yeti and trolls. We see no yeti here. You and the trolls that live here are not akin to those.
Hmm.
Our trolls are more, well, they're called the rock trolls.
Hmm.
They're very stony backs, and they're more hunched, kind of thing. But they're also they're they won't like attack you usually unless you bother them. They are usually content to dig in the ground and in their small caves and such. So if you see one, just walk away.
Walk away.
just and walk away.
It's wise counsel.
Very well.
We'll keep that in mind, yeah?
He says, well, anyway, hitting the hay.
Yes,
He plops
Yeah,
down
yeah,
in
yeah.
bed.
a lot to do tomorrow.
All right, so you awake to the smell of kebabs once again. You hear the roasting
I'd
meat.
like to do something.
Yeah.
Please and thank you. Break of dawn, a little bit before the town stirs. I'd like to have woken up and then gone into town. I'd
Okay.
like to explore a little bit.
As you are doing that and waking up early, you observe Thicket returning home
Hmm.
as he had already gone out, and he's got a big old barrel of a keg of something under his arm. He says, "Oh, good morning, good morning, you. Are you all well? You are up early."
Yeah, I don't need as much sleep, and I'm often up early. It looks like you've been out as well.
Oh yes. Well, I had to pick up ale, of course, because it is near breakfast time, and breakfast is sacred.
Yeah,
Is,
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
there,
It is a sacred time of day, and particularly when I have guests in my home, I must make sure you have all of the delicious and fine amenities. I did get this from the brewer. We have a brewery here. I forgot to tell you about that. I was tired when you were asking me about the town. Um, so do make certain to come in for breakfast at some point, because I must serve you all. It is my responsibility.
Yeah, I'll definitely be in for breakfast. Nom 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 nom. Mm,
So you wake up early and head into town,
mm-hmm.
and you walk now in the morning light. You get a better look at it. You you see these tall trees, many of them. Um, the town sort of culminates in a hill, upon which is the very largest of all of these trees, with the most tree homes stacked up upon it. And that's kind of the center of town. And it doesn't, again, there's not really streets, but more uh, just there desire paths, where people where the Firbolg trod have kind of formed the streets of the town, and they're pretty well worn, showing you where the thoroughfares sort of are.
that
And you
could
walk.
be a that could be an offshoot or a spinoff. Where the Fearbulb trod.
Oh,
Whether it's a road trod.
you from with the Firbolg trod, from some of the branches of these trees, you waked, and you hear almost like as if it's almost like the town rings with music, and you find it is from every few trees there are you didn't see these last night, but upon tassels hanging out of windows, there are wind chimes, and they're cling clang 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 throughout the morning, in the morning air, and the day is calm and placid, and just that slight breeze tickles the wind chimes. So the town itself is alive with the music, and you go further and see and upon these additionally, from these tassels there are many colored ribbons tied to them, and there's so much color and sound to this place in the morning. It's beautiful.
I'd like just to wander,
Yeah.
kind of find like the where all of these desire paths kind of culminate to a large one. Kind of head in the direction towards the center and see if there's any interesting things to see.
Yeah.
Looking out for either the blacksmith or the sundry store. Even if they're not open, I'd like to at least peek at them and get my eyes on them.
Yeah, so this you kind of come upon a larger one where it looks like more Furbolgtrod. It's early, so there's not a whole lot of them about, but you do see a few beginning their day. Kind of some of them are some you see some leaning out of windows of the tree homes, smoking pipes and whatnot, and they they kind of bow to you a little bit, wave back, and uh, basically you find that it all kind of culminates, even though the center of town is that hill with the largest tree on it. There's what you come upon what appears to be a sort of a town square, as there is a large ring of stones, and you recall what Thicket said about bonfires,
bonfire, right? Hmm.
and it appears that this might be where they congregate for that. And additionally, around that ring of stones, there is another ring of stones. But these look to be they're smooth rocks, look to be used as seats for them to sit upon during their bonfires. So those are set about, and there's a couple of Firbolg sitting on the opposite side, just chatting up the morning, having a little bit of a drink. You see off to your right, there's another path that kind of goes around a big tree, and there you see an open air. It's in the same style of those other tree homes, but it sits squarely upon the ground. Sorry, excuse me. It's open air, and there's some smoke coming out of the top, and from it you hear just a ping, 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 hammering sounds, and that's the first place you notice.
Yeah, that's a noticeable sound. So I'd like to at least walk over there and see if I can't poke my head in somewhere.
Yeah. So and underneath this open air, it's a you see that it's a circular building like the others. The roof comes up to a point, and that's where the smoke comes out from the forge. And you observe the forge right in the center of this place, where there are additionally anvils and pots of vats of water, and racks where there are wooden handles and stuff set upon. And oops, there's one Firbolg there. He looks a little bit older. He's got his hair is reddish but longer in a braid down his back. He's wearing a simple smock, sort of a blacksmith's apron, and he's pretty tall, about maybe 10 feet tall. He's hammers away on a red hot piece of steel, and let's see. What else was I going to say about him? His skin is about grayish blue, sort of like thickets, but a little bit more blue. And that's the only person you see underneath that roof.
Okay. Kind of watch him for a second and look around his shop. Does he have any like swords, spears? Does it look like this is more of a workstation?
It looks like a workstation, but you do see a few things. There's a kind of a barrel in which you see a couple of spears. What looks to be a halberdish type weapon or a glaive. There's a rack on which there are two what are definitely long swords, and a couple of axes. There are 4 axes hung on the wall, and what it looks like he's what you go ahead and make a perception check.
Yeah, so I was about to ask if I could figure out what he's making. 19.
Yeah, it looks like he's making a shield. You see a hunk of wood kind of set. You didn't see it at first, but it's kind of by like a pole. You see a chunk of wood, and it looks like he's beginning to fit some metal of some sort to band it with and make its boss and handle. And additionally, you begin, as you notice, you see several more shields, uh, pretty much just like it. They're tall, basically kite shields, tapering at the bottom, but they're tall enough to cover a good deal of the Firbolg's body. And there's about 5 of them stacked nearby.
Okay. And he's kind of not paying attention to me.
Nope, he's just going about his work. I don't really think. Yeah.
I've seen him enough. I'm gonna duck out.
Back through town, it's a little more time has passed. A couple more people are coming out. Some look at you with curiosity. One says, "Ooh, hello,
Hey, how's it going?
welcome, welcome, traveler.
Thank you.
Good to see you about in town. It's not not very often that we get little folk."
We come from a faraway land doing business, looking for the elders. It's good to be here. You've got a beautiful place.
Well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say. I sounds so exciting. Faraway lands. What is the land called?
Personally, I am from Kezuin.
Kazuin.
But
Ah, yes, I know of it.
you do?
Yes.
That's
Well, you see, up here we live in a very small community, but we know things about the outside world. Though, hmm, makes a curious face. Does the outside world know about us? Do you know about Firbolg before you came here?
No, no.
Ah, then the secret is well kept. Well, we communicate with the giants, who communicate. Well, they trade with those from the rest of the parts of the world. So we hear news via the orcs and the giants, and then the snow elves, and of course, that's a that's a nasty business now, isn't it?
From
Hate
what
to
I've heard.
hate to think about all of that.
You bring up a curious line of thinking. You called yourselves a secret. Once we leave here, would you prefer that we keep you a secret? Above all else, be caution
Well,
about speaking of the Firbolgs.
well, we like to stay. We like to stay in our peaceful way of life here, and well, if you did speak of us, I don't suppose it would be the worst thing in the world because, well, I don't know if anyone would believe you. And second, they'd probably have to do a great deal to come here. But
Yeah.
we do like to be. We do like it that we're not well known among the world because, well, that just makes it more likely that we'll be able to stay here in our peaceful ways. But that's perhaps all shattered now, anyhow.
Okay. That all
So,
makes sense to me. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
how did you
The
find
small.
how did you find the Giants? Did you like did you enjoy your time with them?
Yeah, we kind of stumbled upon them. We weren't again we were looking for someone who had information and stumbled into them. They were absolutely friendly, which is good.
Oh,
Good.
they're very nice. They're very pleasant. Mostly we see Hirundian, the one they call
Yeah.
the Cliff Watcher. He comes and is an envoy sometimes down to us, but he'll occasionally bring others from their
So it's
clans and bring things to us.
yeah, he brought us. So it's not a very well kept secret then that Harundian is the Cliff Watcher. We
Ah,
were
no.
just had the wool pulled over our eyes then.
Oh, what's that now?
He took forever telling us that he was the Cliff Watcher. We were all in this big journey looking for someone named the Cliff Watcher, and it took us about a week or two of running around doing errands for them before he finally made himself known, even though we knew who Harundi was. Seems they
Class,
wanted.
classic Garudian.
Seems like they wanted to test us, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, that would be what he would want to do.
Well, we are on the good
Garundian.
side of him now, so
Well, but that means that you must be good folk because he found you worthy and allowed you to pass into our lands.
yeah, yeah. You are very trusting. Not saying that that's a fault, but it's a good thing.
Well, we feel bold. We feel protected. We're grateful to the giants for their protection because
Very protected, yeah.
if the small folk come into our lands, it is usually only by their allowance, and that is a relationship that is mutually beneficial for us. they give us protection, and we trade them many things. We trade them metals. For example, they do not mine. So
Oh, I see.
and we have a mine. It's well, just one, and we occasionally will fill it in and move on to a different location. So there is always one mine. We get metal, we take from the earth, but we put the soil back into Ceres so that we do not steal from her, and she may regenerate her properties. And we work with the metal, and therefore we trade it with the giants, and they in turn bring us their beautiful rugs and cloth, and so therefore our relationship is symbiotic.
This all makes sense to me. I was curious about the fact that you had a blacksmith. It didn't seem like I don't know. That might be my own bias speaking. It didn't seem like you were all advanced enough to have metals. And I don't mean that in a mean way. It just was
Oh,
the vibe I was getting from you that you wouldn't care for such
oh,
things. But
we
that
do
is
not
very interesting.
do not mine profusely, but we make what we need. And oh, the blacksmith, you must have met Rillen then.
Oh, I only stopped in. I didn't meet him. He was busy making something, so
Oh,
I I looked around and then I took my leave quietly.
well, he's a quiet fellow, but good at his work. If you happen to meet him, he's probably busy at work on shields, I imagine.
That was what he was working on, yeah.
Mm.
Stop arrows, huh?
Stop arrows. It's a terrifying bit of business.
It is.
Just no,
I'm
just
sorry about
nasty.
it.
Just nasty. Well, I
It was
certainly hope we get it figured out soon.
Yeah, I hope you do. I hope you do, absolutely. It was nice talking with you, and
Oh,
I hope to run into you again soon, Mr. Froborg.
oh, call me Noralmin.
Noralmen. Yes, I will call you that.
I hope to see you about the town. We were scheduled to have a bonfire in a couple of days, but with the way things are going, who even knows if we'll have it or not?
Hopefully, that
Huh,
will keep your spirits up.
I certainly hope so. They're always nice. I hate to cancel them, but anyhow, my good friend, it's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you as well. Noralmen.
Indeed.
I'll take my leave from him.
Have a good day. And he kind of heads out.
Hmm.
And where you head from here?
Still just wondering if it's kind of like around a central tree, this square. I'll
Yeah,
kind of try to
it's
find my way
nearish.
around.
Yeah, it's nearish to the central tree, and yeah, and so was that shop. And the next tree was it kind of you're going in a
Hmm.
a roundy round about this central hill. Yeah, a roundy round. That's what I'm calling it. And that's where you came upon Noralman. And continuing, there's a few more trees, some bigger, some smaller. The music continuing to twinkle throughout the morning, and you don't see any too conspicuous, obvious shops or anything. You kind of get the sense that Thicket wasn't really sure what you were asking because he's a not that he's simple, but he's he's just not
It's like
accustomed to he's not accustomed to the
the word
the
shop.
outworlders, yeah, the shops. It's more individuals and stuff here. So go ahead and make a perception check.
I was gonna say, do I see that sundry shop at least in passing? 13.
As you get almost three quarters away around, you see one. It's like a what do I say? Second story. It's like a second story tree home, decently sized, and there's kind of a little balcony around on it, and there's no sign or anything. But inside, you do catch a glimpse of a female furbolg, and she's kind of carrying around a couple of like jars and stuff, and setting them, and kind of is busy about the place. And it doesn't exactly look like like a really house place or a residence.
Kind of looks more like stuff is on display for trade,
Uh,
presumably.
yes.
Okay. I'll take the stairs up to that and then just poke my head in.
As you look on in, you see, as I said, a female furbolg. Her skin is grayish, turning to a almost a turquoise hue, light, and her hair is in many braids back across her head, and she's dressed in nice in very nice robes, kind of a dress sort of thing, and she turns to see you and she says, "Oh, good morning. How may I help you?"
Hello and well met. I am just poking my head around. What is this place?
Uh, oh, this is where I trade my goods.
Oh,
I'm Leonora, and who are you? Who are you? An outlander, I suppose.
yeah. My name is Bu. I am with a party of four. We arrived late last night.
I
Would you
heard
visit?
I heard about you
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
just briefly. You haven't been here long, but I've heard about you.
We are just doing some business in town. I hopped out early, wanted to look around your town. You're a trader, you say?
I do have some goods that I trade in. Are you interested, and or are you looking for something to trade?
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe. I wouldn't mind looking at what you had if you're not busy right now, if it isn't too early.
Oh no, not at all. I generally get up early in the mornings. I'm a bit of an early bird. If you're searching for anything in particular, I was just moving around some of these nightshades.
No, nothing in particular. I'd like to just like a quick glance around.
All right,
Um,
give me a perception check.
what's obviously for sale.
Arms and dirt. Arms and dirt.
What was the roll?
12.
You see that she's got a decent assortment of things, and in fact, it does resemble a shop a little bit. She's got on some shelves. There are a few boxes of wood, like wooden boxes. You don't know what they contain, but it looks like they're probably up for trade. There's a big chest in the corner. There is a wardrobe. It is open, and within the wardrobe, there are several indistinct garments of various colors. Sorry, got something in my throat. And upon there's a short counter kind of space. You see some jars on it, and that's most of what you see.
Yeah. All very interesting. Do you have anything you would consider special? A high seller that isn't daily necessity, not food, not drink, not clothing, anything interesting?
Interesting. Why, yes, I should say I do. Are you looking for? Um, I have. Well, for example, she says, I was looking at this. I was just moving a few of these about, and she cracks open a small wood box, and within there are three little like bulbs of flowers. They're bright purple with little white around the edges, and she takes off a petal of one of them, and she says, "These, I love these. They're so interesting." And she takes a knife from her belt And you see her. She says, care for me to demonstrate what I do?
Yeah, is this Nightshade?
It is. It is a type of a nightshade. It is. Uh, it is. We call it a tearful nightshade, and it's. Well, she takes the knife and goes and slashes herself on the arm. Just slightly, very skilled, and blood begins to drop. And she takes the pedal, holds it up to the wound, and the pedal is like attracted to the wound, slaps on it, and a moment later you see the bleeding stop, and she says, "Doesn't even hurt.
Well, it hurts when you cut yourself, I think.
Just a small bit."
Goodness. Well, that is certainly interesting.
I have these. I have some other things as well, though. I have some. Yes, I do have interesting things. I have nectar of a flower that helps you see in the dark. You just drop it in, and it helps you see better in the dark. I have various other things. There's there's raw leaf. Those those give you a burst of vigor. Such things like that. I have a few of those. If anything you catching your eye?
Yeah, the Nightshade is interesting to me. I'll tell you what. I think our host is getting a little antsy that I get back, but maybe I come back in a little bit and we talk about that Nightshade a little bit more. Yeah.
Oh, certainly. I would be happy to speak with you again about it. Stop by whenever.
Thank you very much for your time.
Of course. All right, you take your leave, and it's the morning is progressing a little bit now. The town's has awoken, and the Furbolg are going about their business. Mostly, that business is breakfast. They're gathering in their homes or throughout the streets. They're having their wagons with food and such in them, as breakfast is sacred. So I'll snap to the interior of Thicket's home, where Mirwin and Warith awaken to the smell of kebabs, that elk meat, and those onions and cloves of garlic, and that hard cheese that softens as it cooks. And there's that sizzling sound and the smell that hits you as you awaken. Oh, good morning! You too, you're awake.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Bracken wakes up and says, "Oh, I've got to get to Jofira's. Or not until after breakfast. Breakfast is sacred."
Sacred, huh?
Aye,
Apparently.
of course. It's important. One must nourish oneself, and it is tradition to do it with people or by oneself. It's okay if one does it by oneself too. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you have a group of people too, it's much more wonderful. But it's okay. Again, it's let's eat. And he's also
Okay.
got he's also got a skillet up there, and in it there's there's like a popping, like pop, pop, pop,
Popcorn.
like a hissing and popping. And when you look inside of it, you see whole lot of crickets that are they're dead, but they're being cooked. Uh, he says, "Oh, skillet crickets. Have you had them?"
No.
No.
Oh, you are in for a treat. You saute them here in garlic and herb infused oils. They're so greasy and crunchy when you eat them. They just crunch. You'll love them so much. And I got us ale and everything.
Oh, nice.
Barrel certainly sounds wonderful.
I'll get you some. He gets each of you a tankard full of a golden ale, and it's lighter in taste than some of the dark ales you're used to, Mirwin, but it's floral and very nice.
This is very good. I
Oh,
can stand the crickets now.
oh, you will. The crickets are the best part. Bit of a naughty treat. Okay, it's right at this point. Right as he's describing the crickets, the Bew walks back in. Oh,
heard
you've
about
arrived!
your-
You've arrived just in time. Oh, a naughty
Yes, Bew,
treat!
you're back to eat the bugs.
Skillet
Say
crickets.
something about
Come see.
crickets.
Yep, in his up on his grill, you see some popping golden brown crickets.
Are they finished? Are they ready to eat now, or
Oh, just
a little
about,
bit more?
just about. And shakes the pan. Yes, that should be perfect. Takes it off, sets it on his counter.
I'll pick one out of the pan.
Puts the skillets, puts the kebabs on a plate, and yeah. So you take one of these guys and pop it in your mouth, and
Well, I didn't say that.
oh, you take a cricket and you examine it. It's golden brown. It smells pretty good. It smells like garlic and herbs.
I'd just like to have it right now.
Okay. And Thicket looks concerned. He says, "I only have one chair at my table, naturally. So
It's hard to be
hmm.
naughty with 4 people.
I'm perfectly fine here. I'm sitting on the floor.
Well, if you're okay sitting about, I wish I could offer you space at my table, but I cannot. So allow me to serve you." And he gets each of you a kebab and a nice heaping helping of crickets and golden ale. And he sits next to you guys and munches, just enjoying it extremely.
As Warith goes to take a bite of kebab, because I know he isn't going to touch a cricket. I want to throw a cricket into his mouth.
Into Thicket's mouth.
No,
Into
mine.
Warith's
Oh,
mouth.
into Warith's mouth. Okay, yes, I don't know what I thought. Okay. Um, make a.
Like a ranged attack.
I was thinking that. Make it a sleight of hand check.
Sleight of hand. All right.
A ranged attack. Yeah,
What you had me do when I flicked a piece of a wood chip at him.
that's a weapon technically.
Embedded
wood chip.
itself in his head.
Yeah, didn't it
Stuck.
do like 1d4 damage too?
14. I just want to like bank it. So it lands on his tongue as he's like biting something else, so he doesn't like fully
Oh
realize.
yeah,
14 will do it.
yeah. You get it right in there. Just pops right into his cheek.
Yeah.
Wait, I rolled sleight of hand. You may not know that, Warith.
What's the matter, Boris?
I didn't say I knew where it came from.
No, you feel something in your mouth, like almost as if your food expanded unexpectedly. But you're not like, hey, something flew in my mouth. You're just like, that was weird.
I'm gonna have to add these crickets to my mushroom trail mix.
Safest trail mix. in the
They're crunchy. They're high in protein.
Warith, you ate a cricket. I couldn't
I
hold it in
have
anymore.
no crickets, thank you very much.
No. I made you eat one.
I don't think you could make me do anything, thank you very much. No.
They're good
I
for
look
you.
at Brecken. Did Brecken see?
Reckon's. Oh, yeah, he's still there.
You have to stay for
Oh,
breakfast.
Brecken saw. He saw, and he's actually enjoying them and just absolutely holding back from cracking it right up.
Yeah. I'll pick one up and eat it.
It's slightly salty. It's very quite crunchy, and sorry. This flavor of garlickiness and herb, and it is greasy and just it tastes like fried, tastes like fried food.
Good goodness.
I'll look at Worth again.
I'm like, whatever, you weirdo. That's the face I have on.
So you finish up your meal. Thicket cleans up the plates and cups. And says, "Well, we probably should get going. I'll take you to the hunting lodge, high in the central tree. We should go there and speak with Yanaris. He's the head huntsman I spoke to you about. We need to speak with him. He'll tell us how to proceed."
Very
Yeah, okay. Sure.
well.
So he takes you guys out, leads you back through the town, and it's not quite noon yet. And however, you notice that people are starting to reel in their wind chimes, and the music slowly dies out. But the day is still very nice. And you and Thicket, knowing the town already, you guys kind of take the lead ahead of the other two, and you reach this the bole of this central tree is so thick, and it winds as high as just higher than any other. It's really, if you look at it, it's like the ceiling of the town. And Thicket says, "Just up this way," and the ramp takes you. Sorry.
No, just as we're walking, I'd like to ask Thicket, what is with the wind chimes? I noticed that they were out overnight, but morning time has come and they are being put away.
Oh, they're up throughout the morning until this time. And we're nearing. Looks up at the sky. We're nearing noontime, so we take them up now. It is the morning of the music, the music of the morning, the music of the morning is what it is called, and it is to provide an ambience of sparkling beauty to our breakfast time.
Ah, okay. Is a traditional thing, not like a something comes crashing through here, we'll know because all the wind chimes are going thing.
Oh yes, no, we do it every morning.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for the information on that.
Yes, oh, it's quite lovely. It makes for beautiful morning walks about the town.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
Thicket exchanges greetings with a few other Furbolg, and several times using this strange nasal tone that you heard when he first encountered Kenwick. This kind of weird, bizarre thing that is. So this pathway goes up over the roof of one, kind of continuing around the whole of this tree, past a second tree home, and up to the third tree home that this path passes by is the one that Thicket enters. He opens the door, and what you see about you is a room decorated with uh, with 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 pelts and with some bows and such, some decorative spears and things like that. And you see, looking out, you see who must be the head huntsman, and he's he's his skin is closer to a purplish hue almost, and he wears more of an armored coat, almost like a brigandine, metal plates fastened to leather. He has a sword at his side, and he's kind of brooding, looking out the window, scanning the horizon, watching his guards out there and looking for any sign of these invaders. And he does not turn around as you approach.
Oh, Warith. He's got the classic I'm a cool dude pose going on.
Yeah.
It's very
I've mastered this at this point.
very- Oh, have you? I've never seen you do that.
Don't pay enough attention.
Sorry.
And he turns about. He does turn around after a moment, and Thicket says, "Oh, this is Yonaris, head huntsman, and as I said, serving as our leader tactically in this time. Yonaris, I present to you Bu and Warith and Murwin and Brecken." And Brecken at this point says, "Should I be here? Shouldn't I go to Jofira?" And Thicket says, "Oh yes, of course. I'm sorry that I should have told you that you could go earlier, but I didn't. Uh, I'm sorry. I was supposed to not have this one with me, but I am often forgetful. So yes, so certainly go, Brecken."
I was busy being naughty.
And Brecken kind of turns to you guys and says, "Come find me before, I don't know. I don't know how long I'll be there or how long you'll take, but don't do anything stupid till I get back."
Dang it.
What? It is my promise to you that I, Bu, and him, Warith, and her, Mirwin, will do something stupid.
Don't
Well,
die on the road.
We won't leave without you, I suppose.
I will. Vissa will murder you.
if we die on the road, yes.
Well, she'd murder you if you die on the road, and she'll murder me. She'll murder you if you leave without me as well. So I'll try. I'll do my best to learn as much as I can about all of this madness. And when you get back, I'll tell you everything I can.
Yeah.
So Brecken heads off, back out through the door and off towards Jafira's place. And Yunaris then says, "Well, it's nice to meet y'all.
Nice to meet you.
I hope that you can be of some help to us in this craziness that's going on that's going on out here. You know."
I
Yeah,
have completely misjudged you. It seems that we got off on the wrong foot. My name is Bu.
We've only just introduced ourselves. What did you think? It's the voice, isn't it?
No, I'm wanting
Yes.
to shake your hand. You are a very cool individual.
I
Very
grew I grew up far from here in the west of our lands, and
Yeah.
my family was a little bit isolated, don't you know? And my parents both had speech impediments, and now
I didn't know that was hereditary.
they and well I just spent a lot of when I was a young person, I spent a lot of time around my parents, especially when I was a baby, and I guess I heard them talk so much, and and then I just kind of picked up on it, and that's how I talk. And but I talk mixed with theirs, with sort of a little bit how the rest of the Furbolg talk. So that's pretty much it. Eh? And I won't judge you for taking me for a different sort of fellow, but just I have authority here, And I'd appreciate it if if you would just listen to take my. I am the head huntsman. I'm the head huntsman of this place. And I know it, and I would really like it if you guys wouldn't judge me or anything because of any reasons. It
Mhm.
They had a speech impediment. That's not very nice to make fun of it.
As you will tell you, I'm not always very nice.
Well, as long as you can help us with the elf problem, that's really what we're here for. We don't
I
have
think
to.
you broke Ian.
we,
You,
we don't.
you cry?
We
It's
don't
Fizzy
have
Wilds all over
to.
again.
We don't have to get along, eh?
Yeah, loser.
I have authority.
I know that was the one that got me. Authority here.
And he says, "Look, the biggest problem we have right now. Let's just get to work. The biggest problem we have right now is we don't know where they are. Like they're slippery as can be, and accomplished trackers. They've taken 2 scouts of ours out so far, but we don't know if they're hunting us or if the scouts were just in their way or found them out and killed them before they could get word back or sound their horns. We don't know. We don't know. So basically, you three in Thicket, you're gonna go out. You're gonna go out and you scout. And I want to know if they have a base of some sort, or if you can track their movements, or tell if they've been somewhere, or if they're or find anywhere where they like stay the night, or anything. Can you all please do that?
Sorry. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, you
Okay.
betcha.
Yeah, that'd be fine. So, you do not want us to head to the Elf City, north of here. You would much rather us find what's up with the local.
Oh, oh yeah. That seems to be more pressing for sure. It would take a lot longer to get up there than to just find out what's going on here. We might there was some talk of sending maybe an envoy or something up north and seeing what's going on and maybe getting a report back from our friends up there, because this isn't all of them or even a whole tribe. We are guessing from numbers. It's fairly few, so we gotta deal with what's down here first.
Very well.
Yeah, all right. That sounds good. Uh, do you have any other information that we could use to find them, or
Ticket, you know where they found the first 2 bodies, right? Oh yeah, whereabouts? I could find the locations. It might you might could start where the other bodies were. I don't know. That's south of here a little bit. So I might start where the other bodies were.
yeah, if that's our best bet and there's no more information, then we might as well try that.
All right. Well, nice to meet y'all. I guess then be off.
Yeah.
And nice to meet you as well. Um, Yanaris.
Yes, yes. He turns away and goes back to brooding out the window, kind of muttering a little bit something to himself. Accent. Yeah.
Betcha.
Oh, look at all the kitty cats. I'm the only one who doesn't have a kitty cat right now. And Ticket says, "Oh, all right, boss. We'll let you know what we find and what happens." Ticket leads you back out of the place, out of the
Ticket?
hunting
Oh, head on.
lodge.
You could have warned us about that.
About what?
Nothing. Let's go.
About him
What?
sounding like a
That he
weirdo.
has a speech impediment?
Yeah.
Not, but sometimes people have speech impediments.
It sounds funny. We laughed at him. I almost.
Yeah.
I know. I know that you did.
Almost.
That was very rude.
Well, you could have, and I'm not divorcing us from the fault here, but you could have warned us that we should keep a straight face.
But he's so big and intimidating.
Exactly.
Which is what makes it even funnier.
He's like
Take
3
on it.
feet. He's like 3 feet taller than the tallest of you.
I know, and so we were expecting some bossa nova to say some, cool words and rumble the floorboards beneath us with his growl, and instead we got a noisy cricket.
He 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 has no control over that. That's
No,
simply the way he was raised, and he
I know.
just because he doesn't sound like the rest of us.
Thicket, I am completely aware. I know. We shouldn't have laughed. You could have warned us.
I didn't know what sort of.
He didn't know we were that terrible of people.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I don't think you're terrible, but
Worth would.
I didn't know that you would think that. I didn't know what you would think of different Firbolg accents because you've only heard a few of us so far. I didn't know if you would really notice a difference even. But if
You thought that we wouldn't notice a difference?
maybe
Okay, yeah. You think
Maybe
I'm
you just
sorry.
thought it'd be funny.
you three all talk slightly different. I don't know if where you're from. Maybe one of you talks strangely.
Well, you talks very strange, to be honest.
He does.
It's true. We make fun of him behind his back all the time.
It's true.
Listen,
Oh, that's
You-
terrible.
Sometimes to his face.
I am from a Highlands. This is the way that we talk here, and I certainly don't betray myself and my stature by talking differently. Then you would
He
be
doesn't
expecting.
like the gay field funds. And
Gay for.
They're weird and the magic and it's oh no.
I want to punch Worth.
Roll attack.
It's a natural one.
You at this point attempt to sock Worth semi playfully, and you whap, but he goes whoop, and you whoosh, and fall and tumble down the thing of a few stairs. And you take you take 2 bludgeoning damage from the fall.
I also take 2 sad damage.
Aw.
Sad. Damage.
Sad you.
So that didn't work out very well. And Thicket kind of says, "Oh, you are you okay?" And he offers you a hand. You
I get up with that as help.
you too. You can be contentious ones, can't you?
No, I am not the contentious one.
Really? Because I'm not the one who tried to swing at me.
I'm not the one who is stupid and ugly and a prick.
Whatever you say, Clippity Clopper.
You reach back down the bottom of the tree as you're speaking, and Thicket kind of goes, "Oh, hey, don't worry about food for the trip. I've packed us to go. I have snacks. See here." And he pulls out a bag full of something, and he opens it and shows you. And there's a melange of bright green berries, several types of nuts, various roasted seeds, and something that looks like small bits of honey candy. And he says, "I call it mix."
Yeah. It is certainly a mix.
Or it rhymes. Thickets mix. I've only just called it mix, but I will call it thickets mix. Thicket mix. Thicket mix. Thicket mix. Thicket mix.
Good job.
I'm going to call it thicket mix. See, I was a poet, and I was unaware of the fact.
All right. Before you go too much further and all of that, Thicket, do you know of Nightshade?
Yes, like there's several varieties of nightshades. We have the tearful nightshades. Those are the most famous ones. Those are the ones that are
Are
attracted to
those
blood.
yeah, are those especially effective? Have you used them personally?
Yes, I have. So I've don't think I have any on me, but I have used them out in the wilds before. I cut myself on a particularly sharp boulder once, and it was a fairly bad wound too. But I had a couple of them, and then you just right on there, and they hold the wound together, help the bleeding stop. They're very useful to have.
Are they particularly rare, or are they more common to find? Is this something that we could salvage, or is buying them advantageous for us now before we
I
get them?
could probably find some, but it would take a while. Usually, it takes a fairly skilled herbalist some time in the wilds to find them, to know where they grow, and to dig them up.
Yeah, okay. Well, do you mind if we stop back and see Leonora?
Oh, Leonora, she has some
Leonora?
of those. She trades.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, what do you use for currency, or what do you trade with?
Ah, I just ask her what she
What
what
she
she
wants?
wishes. Well, ask her what she wishes for it, or she will barter with what you have, or you can come to an agreement that you will provide a service or uh, an item for barter at some point in the future, and she will make a contract out with you.
I do have this, and I hold up that marble with gold fleck in it.
That's very pretty.
Yeah, I picked this up pretty recently. I think maybe we could barter something for this, if not I have other things, but this in mind.
Oh,
Or
certainly. Let's stop. Let's go by Leonora's then before we leave, and we'll need to set out. Probably it's a bit past noon now, and we can probably reach the spot where the first body was found south of here within an hour of walking. So, but let's go to Leonora's first.
yeah, sure. We also have foreign coin. I know that might not be worth the same amount, but foreigner's coin might be interesting to a trader.
Yeah, you can always ask her about it. Show it to her.
Yeah, yeah, we might do.
Okay, I'll take you. I'll take you there. And he leads you back to the same place, back to Leonora's. You duck back in, and she says, "Oh, it's lovely. You're back. You've made it." And Thickets, hello. Well, hello, Leonora. We have these travelers here. Ah, yes, I met Bew a few hours ago. I'm glad you've made it back.
Yeah, yeah. I had to bring my friends. I think they would like to look around this place as well.
Hello, then. Who are you two?
I'm Yerwin.
And I am Warren.
Hello, Murwin and Wareth. Are you looking for anything in particular? And Thicket says, Bew was asking about nightshades, the tearful nightshades. Oh, yes, you were looking at those earlier with some interest. And she opens the box again, and you see the three bulbs of flower petals. She says, "Can I interest you in them?"
Well, I was hoping to get a little bit more information. Is these are bulbs? Do they look like the heads of
Basically,
flowers?
yeah, it's like the head of the flower without the stem.
Gotcha.
That
Okay.
not like an actual like a bulb. I meant that. Yeah, I should have said that like the head of the flower, the top of the flower.
The hip,
Yeah.
not the hips. That was
What do you trade for?
These? What have you got?
Well, we have gold.
I
I'm
have
not sure
this.
how useful that is to you.
These are fairly rare. What is that?
It's a mystical, clear pearl. It has gold flecks inside. We stumbled upon this not too long ago, and it holds some value.
She says, may I see it?
Yeah.
Oh, the gold looks to be perhaps real. Very interesting. And of pretty, too. I think I would accept this and give you 3 petals.
Oh, okay. It is,
If you want more, do you have anything else of value upon any of you that
We
you would
have
butter?
we have actual gold pieces, if that's interest to you. I show her one of our coins, a crown.
I Outlander money. I could melt it down and make it into something else, but it has no intrinsic value here.
See.
More often it's for other things, such as small beauties like this, or food, or or food or drink. Someone may trade a cask of ale for some of these, or for some of my other sundries. But there's the
Hmm. I pull out the glass bead that I remember that I had from that one rider I killed. Uh, what about this? It's not nearly as pretty as what you had, but it's a little glass pendant bead on a necklace.
her long ears kind of twitch a little bit. She says, "This not so much.
Okay.
I don't see much value in this, really. Not to be rude, but now if you had an actual pearl instead of that thing that small marble, that would be something.
Indeed.
Well,
Well, how
I'd give
much would I do have? I'm not sure I'm ready to part with it yet. We do have those pearls that um, what was her name? The Queen of Wolfguard gave us.
yeah. Yeah, well, what are you holding on to them for?
the
Uh,
necklace, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah, she gave you a necklace, and additionally, you are in possession of a pearl that you found on the beach.
Oh, you're right. Okay, then I don't pull out the necklace. I pull out the pearl. I forgot I have this.
Oh,
Yes,
look at that!
just happened upon it.
Oh,
Edict.
and it's a beauty too. We never see these around here. They're from the sea, of course.
Yeah, I guess you are far from the sea.
I would trade you an entire bulb.
Okay.
There should be about 15 of them in there.
15 petals or 15.
15 petals.
I reach into my bag and I pull out this item. I say, "This is a kiss from a princess."
It's a what now?
Yeah.
It is we were awarded a kiss from a princess when I saved her. Saved her.
Ah,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's a lovely story and good for you for saving the princess.
Kiss from a princess. It is along with the other treasure that I got: 200 gold pieces, a deed of ownership to keep, an edict, safe passage, and a kiss.
I
I remember
for,
that.
Unfortunately, I cannot trade you anything for a kiss, but
I can't
What,
transfer it on.
what were these things called again? The plants?
tearful
Tearful
nightshades. And she reaches out and gives you the bulb, Worth, and holds out her hand in exchange for the pearl. So you now have 15 doses of a healing potion that can be applied in or out of combat, healing 1d6 each. Or wait, what did I write now? No, sorry, it's 1d8 each. In or out of combat, you can do it with a bonus action too.
Nice. Nice.
There's some good non-worms and dirt healing.
Yeah.
So you guys part with her, and you exchange goodbyes as at Thicket's prompting. We should get going. And at this point, you head down, and you leave Yanmar, heading out south. And though you've already spent 2 nights in here, the unique beauty of this place still amazes you. And you see it through a different lens today, as a soft rain begins to fall with the afternoon. Not snow, rain. It cascades through the leaves and needles of the tall trees and makes its way down to you, softly collecting in puddles and running in rivulets down boulders. And he says, "Oh, we've got rain today. Lovely." And he sticks his tongue out and catches rain. And he says, "Here, this way, south. It probably only an hour. I've visited the site the day it happened, where they found the first body. Come."
All right, let's go.
You do walk, as he said, about an hour, maybe give or take a few minutes. And you find a spot. There is, of course, no body there. That has been removed and buried. And he says, "This is the spot." And he points to, and he kind of indicates a little area beside a rock. And he says, we found him here, pierced with arrows. It appears that from that angle that he was shot from the trees, as we saw some of the elves in the trees the other day. Perhaps he saw them and they knew, and found them out, and they shot him. It's hard to tell, but the arrows did pierce him in the front, not from behind. So he was not snuck up on or anything like that. We could tell that much at least. Shot in the front, fell down dead here, and that's all we really know.
I'd like to look up.
How deeply did the arrows penetrate?
He was he was lightly armored, mostly wearing leathers, but they penetrated fairly deeply. One of them reached his heart.
And from that information, can I tell how far away they were when they shot him?
Roll investigation.
Can I look up in them trees? Is that investigation as well?
Yeah.
I rolled an 18 plus, so 20 altogether. I would know 21.
Okay, so you kind of look and you do your best to judge this distance. And although there are trees about you, off to facing the body off to the right, there's like a sort of a clearing before a few more stands of trees and some boulders. Off to the left, there are more. There's a thicker. The forest is thicker, and even through the rain, you can see. You kind of are able to calculate that the arrows probably came from a particular set of two. There are 2 trees that are growing right alongside each other with very thick branches, thick enough, sturdy enough to support. And you can tell that that's probably where the arrows came from. Just judging the distance and the severity of the wounds and the direction of the wounds, you have a hunch that it's from those 2 trees. And you as well, you were making You were making investigation as also.
Yeah, but it was a 7.
Okay. You have a hard time telling much about the area. um, you certainly don't see anybody.
If it was me, I'm gonna take a guess that it looks like he was shot from over here. That would be a good. That tree over there looks like it would be a good spot from how deeply he was penetrated and how and
Thicket,
what Thicket described of the entry wounds and how the angle. I bet they shot him from over there.
thicket points. Those two trees right there.
Yes, that would be my
Ah,
guess.
there is a good position for a shooter up there, and pretty decent cover as well. Even for a even for a furball, it would be difficult to detect, as they have been very very skilled in moving through the treetops unseen. It seems likely.
I want to go investigate the tree.
Yeah. So you guys kind of head over towards those two trees, uh, maybe 30 paces away, and you get up to the trees. And go ahead and roll investigation again for me. Whoever is choosing to look at the
10.
tree. 10,
6.
6,
19 altogether.
19. The other Warth, you're on to something here. The other two, you guys don't see much. Really, you look, but you can't see signs of activity. However, skilled though they may be, you see some scratches on the trunk, Warth, that look to have been made by perhaps some climbing equipment.
You see these? I point out to them. I bet this is where they climbed up the tree to get to their
That is a very keen eye work.
sniper nest.
Oh. Wow.
I want to look around and see if anyone is here watching us still.
Yeah,
Still around.
roll investigation again.
Natural 20. I am rolling hot tonight.
You
Or if make a
can
dexterity saving throw.
you can tell that the area is clear. Wherever they were here, they have moved on. And with that, you can kind of pick up a little bit of traces that indicate just the slightest the slightest things on the ground that they indicate that they may have moved southward from here.
I think they started to move south from here.
That would
See
make
tracks
sense.
there.
That would make sense because the other body was found south of here, south and east. I wonder, what if we head to the other body?
That would
Perhaps
be the
that's
next logical step, yeah?
and then
See where it goes from there.
let's see if we can see if we
And
can't find something at the second body. If they indeed moved, if they were moving south, which we think they were, then at the they must have killed this one, moved, continued on south, killed the second, and likely continued south from there. But let's go to the body.
Or gone in one of the other 4 cardinal directions.
It's possible, but the pattern has been south so far, but they could have moved. They could have moved in any way from there, I suppose.
Well, let's see. Let's head there and find out.
The rain kind of stops a little bit, goes off and on, a light misty drizzle as you pass through the forest. And
You heard that?
yeah,
Oh yeah, I
It's
heard
the
that.
cat. purring.
Oh, I was like, oh, what was that noise?
But my stomach was about to be upset.
Yeah.
Can't pull it.
I wish I had. Look at that cat. I wish I had your cat's personality in my cat's body.
Whatever, it's good.
Because your cat is old and gross.
He's very chill.
It's a couple more hours walk now before you reach the place where the second body was found, and this body he Thicken indicates a patch, uh, a patch sort of in a clearing, and he says he was found here, and again the wounds were in the front. These though were penetrated a bit deeper. So perhaps they shot from closer.
Perhaps.
Got the drop on him.
I want to look around.
Yeah, roll investigation.
Don't fail me now, die phone thing.
Me too, me too, me too. 8.
I got 15.
15. Yes, you can tell. You can again. You scan the trees about, and yeah, you can again divine that you can't really tell the specific tree, but there's a stand of trees, maybe 15 paces away, with good vantage points for shooting, and you can tell they probably sat there in silence, possibly waiting for him to pass, but he saw them, and they shot in return because the wounds again were downwards to the front.
I would guess, venture to guess again that they shot from over there somewhere.
Unfortunately, yes, probably. I wonder then. Could it have been the same group? Quite
Well,
possibly.
they certainly did the same thing. Shooting in the front, meaning that they're only picking off targets that see them. They are wanting to be secretive, but for what reason?
I want to
If
go
they
over to the
truly
area
wanted
where
to
it looks like they might have shot from.
Yes. You head over to those trees and go ahead and roll investigation again.
If they truly wanted to be secretive, then they would take the buddies with them or use some means that was, quieter.
Maybe they were in a hurry. It was 9.
9. At this tree, you don't see anything in the way of marks. It's perhaps they did a better job getting up and down. This one, yeah, that's about all. You don't really see a whole lot.
Can I look and see? Can I look for tracks in the ground? Which direction they came from? Which direction they went?
Yeah, you can roll investigation to examine the whole area around the trees and where the body was found.
Okay. 12.
I got a 17 that time.
Nice.
I had a 5 before.
You make an investigation view.
Oh, I wasn't going to because I was just thinking about
Okay.
stuff.
If View is just standing there thinking, and
Looking rather pensive view.
so Mirwin kind of scrabbles about, and with that roll, yeah, you go from the body, and the thing you see is that a few paces away from the body, near those trees, a little bit to the left of those trees, the rain has sort of filled in a slight track, and you see a tiny puddle. You might not have noticed it dry, but it's kind of like shifted the mud a little bit to where it looks like there was made of a track through here, heading slightly to the east, but still south.
I see a track over there. See that little puddle on the ground next to the tree?
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Could have been beast made, but possibly, given the circumstances, we should
That's all we
follow.
have to
You
go
think?
on.
I think we should follow.
Yes. Well, excuse you, Thicket.
That's some good mix.
Sorry, it was all the thicket mix.
Thicket mix.
Oh, does anyone want any thicket mix?
No,
No, thank you.
I've been grazing the whole time.
Okay. You guys, you guys do continue heading east and east and south slightly. Oh yeah, you eating those gross tillas or whatever?
I wonder. So, is Bew a ruminant? Does he have like 4 stomachs and stuff? Or?
No, Brava, I only have one stomach, just like you.
Disappointing.
We do not chew our cud like a farm animal. We are closer to elk or goats. We only have one stomach, just like them, just like humans, just like elves.
Very well.
So as you travel within the hour, you reach the banks of the river. And there, at this point, the signs of movement kind of stop. And Thicket goes, huh. What would they have done? Fording the river at this point wouldn't have been possible. I don't think. It's fast right now.
Is there any like cave entrances nearby, or?
How wide
The
is the river?
space you're in right now, the area you're in is mainly forested. There's some slight rises and falls in elevation, but you definitely have not seen any cave entrances. The river at this place, it's on the narrower side, and it's maybe 40 paces across. So it's still pretty wide, and currently flowing fast.
Any boughs of the trees that cross the river so that they could do a makeshift bridge?
You don't see any.
Tree limb to tree limb.
No, there's the trees do not they reach up, but their limbs, their boughs do not connect at any point above the river. It's just too wide.
Sorry, I was imagining that these folk were ninjas.
Running along and doing flips to jump from tree to tree. Yeah. And every time they jump, they have to do a front flip.
Let me think.
Shurikens and short bows.
Could easily be that they followed the river south from here. I know of a place further south where the river widens, and there's a steading there. We could ask. Oh, who lives there? I believe Beerza is one of them that lives there. I know him. We could ask them if they've seen anything.
Good plan.
Have you talked to any of the other settlements of Furbolgs and confirmed their safeties?
No, I've only it's only been 3 days. I know that I haven't personally down here. We have not gotten this far south for to speak with these steadings, but I know that some scouts have been sent to others about the realm, but we have not had much time, and some are already on their way to others. Again, some of our settlements are a good nearly a week's walk out, so it could be a small while before all of them are reached and their safety confirmed.
Well,
yeah, that sucks.
and we've sort of been reacting instead of being able to be proactive in all of this because it's all been very so sudden.
And how far is that settlement from here? The next one.
We'll probably reach it around dusk.
All right. I guess if we're gonna go, then we should head out.
I believe we should. Well, let's go and check, and if they could take us in for the night, hopefully. If yeah, yes, I don't think we'll make it back uh, today. Certainly, they'll be hospitable to us. So let's go. Let's go. I look forward to seeing Birza again. And following the river, it does begin to uh, the light begins to get low in the sky when you reach a point where the river does widen considerably, and in the middle of it, you see a few islands. Some of them are just rocks sticking up. A couple of them have some vegetation on them or small trees, and however, one of the islands in sort of the center is larger, has one of those trees on it. The tree like the one in Myanmar. There are 3 homes upon it, getting smaller in size as they go up. And this is the steading. And the thicket points and says, "That's the island. That's it there." And by the time you reach, you get a little bit closer, and you head down toward the uh, not beach, but toward the riverside, the rocky
Setting.
the rocky riverside. It is nearly night. And Thicket says, "Wait, something's wrong. There's no smoke. Where's the smoke? It's evening time. Well, Birza would have had a fire on by now. He would be cooking dinner with his wife."
Oh no.